it has that imagination DNA. If you're absolutely in love with imagination, I don't think you need to buy it. I think this exists. This is really good. Now that this channel has become School of Dubai, I want to talk to you guys about the best clones for expensive niche fragrances. What I think are affordable clones that are going to give you some fantastic value for money. They smell high quality, sometimes so much that they actually make the original redundant when you compare them price versus price. We have 8 affordable clones for some of your favorite expensive niche fragrances out there. Let's begin. For the brand of BDK Poweram, one of their most popular fragrances is of course Gris Charnel. The Eau de Parfum is the original. It smells nice, has a nice blend, nice ingredients for sure, but the performance is so lacking in my opinion that it actually doesn't make sense to have this as a full bottle purchase. That is why we have Lattafa's Liam Grey. This is a fragrance I give an 8.5 out of 10. This is good. It's not as high quality or as natural smelling as the original Gris Charnel, but it gives you better longevity. It's a lot more affordable, probably a tenth of the price actually. It's just as versatile and has that sexy DNA of having that fig sandalwood tea combo with the cardamom as well. It's not as rich. It has more of a focus on vanilla perhaps here as well. You can definitely tell there's a difference between the clone and the original. This is maybe 85% similar, but because I do think that the original just isn't worth the money. Okay, the extrait is a different story, but for the Eau de Parfum, I believe this is replicating the Eau de Parfum. I would say save your money. Either get the extrait of Gris Charnel or get this instead if you want that much better value for money daily signature. You won't mind just spraying this every day to your heart's content. Parfum de Marly Layton is a superstar for their brand, and rightfully so. I still think it's a 10 out of 10. It's a fragrance that's going to be very difficult to be knocked off its throne, but I do think this is incredible for its price tag. That is Haramain's Détour Noir. 90 to 95% similar to Layton. Apple pie, rose, vanilla, woody, powdery, fresh. It has that beautiful balance that Layton is known for. It's a most of the year round signature. You don't wear Layton really in the summertime, apart from maybe the evenings. This lasts around 10 hours with a medium projection. Again, you can tell which one's the clone, which one's the original. I don't like the packaging, but this is still a 10 out of 10. For £20, maybe a tenth of the price of Layton. If you don't like Layton that much, you can go for this instead and you'll be absolutely fine. If you guys don't know already, we are now officially long-term partners of AFNAN, one of the best Middle Eastern houses out there. You guys probably already know them very well. They do fantastic quality packaging, scent profiles for such incredible value for money. Because they are sponsoring today's video, I can't put them into the main list. I don't put sponsors into the main list of videos, but I will just mention a few of their fragrances that fit today's video's criteria. AFNAN Supremacy Collector's Edition, my recent 10 out of 10, my recent highly loved fragrance from them. If you don't want to spend money for Aventus Absolu / Aventus, this kind of sits in between those two with its own kind of twist. You can go for this instead. Turathi Brown, you can get this instead of Tuxedo in my opinion. This has better projection than Moustache Eau de Parfum. If you like that sexy, spicy signature DNA of Tuxedo, you can definitely go for this. This is a fantastic fragrance for the value once again. Turathi Blue, I've mentioned many times, I fully think this makes Tygar redundant, a fantastic freshie to wear all year round if you want to get compliments. And one maybe I didn't give enough appreciation to before, that is Supremacy Not Only Intense. Okay, Collector's Edition to me is a 10 out of 10. This is an 8.5 out of 10. I'm bumping it up from an 8. I didn't appreciate just how beastly this is. If you want an affordable, beastly replication of Nishani's Hashivat, so this kind of smells like Aventus in the opening, a very nice, juicy pineapple opening. I really like that part the most of this fragrance. But then you're going to get a Hashivat replication that lasts over 12 hours with at least a medium projection, maybe medium to loud projection. Use our code SCHOOL15 on the AFNAN USA or UK website. We'll leave a link in the description and pinned comment down below. Let's continue the list. Xerjoff's Naxos, one of the best from the brand as well, an elegant honey lavender tobacco fragrance that is great for special occasions in my opinion. It smells so elegant actually that I find it's quite tricky to pull off unless you're wearing really extravagant clothing. This is a nice alternative. That is Alexandria Fragrances 1981X. This is 80% similar to Naxos. It sort of tones down the richness of it. It smells more casual. It has that powdery sexiness of the original. It focuses more on the lavender and honey rather than a tobacco to my nose. It smells like a more casual everyday version of Naxos. If you love the sex appeal of Naxos but you're put off by how tricky it can be at times to pull off, then go for this instead. Wear this as a casual daily scent most of the year round. It lasts around 8 hours with a soft projection. A very nice signature. 37.9% of people who watch School of Scent are subscribed to us. If you guys really want to see our channel grow, go ahead and click subscribe. Let's get that number to 40%. Thank you. Speaking of Aventus Absolu by Creed, it's a nice fragrance, but I think most people will say it's horribly overpriced. If you want to get an affordable alternative, you can go for Armaf's Club de Nuit Intense Man Precieux. This is more pricey for a Club de Nuit fragrance. I do wish it was, well, either a bigger bottle size or more of a lower price, but this gets it around 90% similar to Aventus Absolu. Aventus Absolu definitely has better naturals than here, but this still replicates that really sexy, citrusy, oak moss, woody, vetiver, musky DNA of Aventus Absolu that just smells more rich compared to the original Aventus. It smells more luxurious. This does it really nicely. A little bit more synthetic, but better performance from what I've experienced as well. This lasts around 10 to 12 hours. Fantastic performance. If you want Aventus Absolu on steroids, this is the fragrance to do it. It has that sexy caramel note in here as well, which gives it an edge, that slight creative twist, which is really cool. A very versatile signature as well. You can wear this day and night all year round. Parfum de Marly Sedley is one of the better freshies from Parfum de Marly. It's minty, citruses, sandalwood and broxen, aromatic greenness here as well. It smells masculine, it smells mature. It's one of my favorites from the brand, although I think Percival might still be the best for compliments. An affordable alternative is this. It is Lattafa's Mahir Legacy. I'm personally not the biggest fan of this fragrance here, but I personally wouldn't pull the trigger on a full bottle of Sedley either, hence why I'm mentioning Mahir Legacy. It's a solid alternative that's affordable for Sedley. It has that aromatic muskiness. It smells a little bit metallic. It kind of has its own twist in that way. It's not exactly the same in the opening, but as it dries down, it gets a bit more close. It gets that woody and broxen part of Sedley correct. The naturals of the citruses and the mint, it doesn't quite get it right. I don't think the opening is the best of this fragrance, but hey, it gets it pretty close. 6 to 8 hours longevity with a medium projection. If you don't want to spend that kind of money on Sedley, but you kind of like it, hey, this exists. This next alternative, now this I absolutely love. It is replicating Maison Francis Kurkdjian's Oud Satin Mood, the Eau de Parfum, from what I can tell. I haven't actually tried Extrait, but that's one of my favorite fragrances from MFK. A rich, almost Turkish delight smelling rose and oud with a beautiful vanilla. It is one of the sexiest fragrances in the house. And here we have Maison Alhambra's Baroque Satin Oud, which I got from eBay for around £20. So it's what, 25 bucks, a tenth of the price. The original is a 10 out of 10. I don't think this smells as rich or as natural as the original, which, okay, fair enough. The original probably has some real oud in there. It doesn't have that quite animalic nature of the original. It focuses on that rose water, rose note I mentioned before. It still smells super high quality for its price tag. It lasts a really long time as well. The original is a bit more beastly, but this still lasts 10 hours on medium projection. It smells super high quality with that rose. I've always said if you don't like Moschino's Toy Boy, that feels a bit too polarizing. For us guys, you can try this instead. I do think this still is unisex overall, but this is super sexy. That rose and vanilla is there, has some woodiness. It's not quite oud in here, but it still smells really high quality for its price tag as well. So the original is a 10 out of 10. And I will say Baroque Satin Oud is also a 10 out of 10, a fantastic alternative. This next fragrance was gifted. It was a sponsored short video actually that went viral, especially on TikTok. That was a video where I mentioned the fact that Louis Vuitton Imagination to me is not as good as Immensité. I prefer Immensité, I just think it's sexier. But hey, if you like Imagination, fair enough to you. It's very easy to like, but I think it's overpriced. But it's a nice DNA having the citruses, the green tea. It smells like a green tea note to me, in my opinion. And it has this muskiness, this airiness, this ambroxan in here. That smells very sexy. Of course, the ginger as well gives it that pop and that brightness you're looking for in a summer fragrance. But again, overpriced in my opinion. You can go for this instead. That is Zemaya's Massage Infused. This smells 90% the same. I don't think Imagination is spectacular due to the fact of using really high quality naturals. I don't think their naturals are that high quality. Maybe in the opening you can kind of detect that. It's not going to be exactly the same quality as Imagination, but it's close enough that I really don't think you need to spend that kind of price. This is, what, an eighth of the price tag. It lasts a similar amount of time, around 6 to 8 hours with a medium projection. It has that juiciness, that brightness you're looking for, that wateriness. It has that Imagination DNA. If you're absolutely in love with Imagination, I don't think you need to buy it. I think this exists. This is really good. If you want to try out a more expensive alternative to Imagination, you can try out Ajmal Eau d'Oud, which I've mentioned before. To me, this is more worth its price tag. It has that Imagination DNA, but then Ajmal put a twist by inserting real oud in there. I can definitely tell there's real oud in there. It's very long lasting. It's more versatile because of that oud as well. It lasts around 12 hours. So that's my more expensive alternative as well. And lastly, like many Tom Ford private blend fragrances, I do feel like Tusk and Leather probably isn't worth this price tag. I smelled this fragrance maybe 5 years ago and I thought it was beautiful back then, and then I smelled Tusk and Leather later on, and ever since then I just think this kind of blows it out of the water. That is Versace's La Yucca one. Tusk and Leather is a dry, smoky leather with a woody facet to it. It's not the easiest leather. It obviously has that iconic raspberry note in there as well. Ombre leather is the easier cousin in the Tom Ford brand for a leather fragrance. However, La Yucca one actually replicates it very nicely. I think it's definitely been reformulated, because when I tried it, what, 5 years ago, it was absolutely monstrous. This is still a beastly performer. This is probably 10 to 12 hours of medium to loud projection, but I feel like actually they kind of toned down the smokiness here. They made it a bit more smooth. This is a more smooth, sexy, inviting raspberry leather fragrance with some woody facets in there as well. Probably a bit of spices, some ambers in here, so it has a bit of sweetness. This is a great DNA for special occasions. If you want to make a statement, like I feel that Tobacco Vanille is probably a bit more of a safe special occasion fragrance. Tusk and Leather, the DNA is probably a bit more of a statement maker. La Yucca one sticks with that, but it makes it smoother. It's 10 to 12 hours, means loud projecting, so it's not the same fragrance that it once was, but it doesn't need to be. It was probably a bit too strong before, but this is still a 10 out of 10 masterpiece in my opinion. You don't need Tusk and Leather whilst this exists, but hey, you can try both of them out and see if you agree or disagree. That concludes today's video, guys. What are your thoughts on today's list? Are you going to try any of them out? And what are some clone fragrances that you've experienced that you think actually make the original redundant, because their value for money is just so fantastic? Let us know in the comments down below, and make sure you are checking out AFNAN and some of their latest creations in the video description, and pin comment as well down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to check out my recent video on the best long-lasting affordable fragrances. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.